primary focus of these studies is we will be focusing on the factors influencing cybersecurity awareness among tertiary students in Kedah. Thus, let's take a look on the background of the study first. For the background of the study, the term cybersecurity refers to the process of protecting computerized information system, servers, data, and networks against unauthorized intrusions by utilizing various forms of computer technology. Multiple levels of security have been implemented across all of the systems in order to prevent unauthorized users from accessing the data that is stored on the system. This happened as a consequence of the fact that malicious actors are growing more rapidly on a daily basis, which makes it more difficult to deploy steps to ensure the cyber security. While for the problem statement, the first problem statement is that the increasing regularity with which the students engage in activities related to social media platform is growing steadily. People who share content on their social media pages, either on Instagram, Facebook, and another platform, can give people the access to a wide range of knowledge that they otherwise might not have. The second problem statement is the unrestricted flow of information among these individuals make it possible for fraudulent activity to take place. One of the aspects that might be noticed is the fact that students are quite welcoming of new connections. This is something that is very easier for them to do. This is because none of the limits are put on them. And the third problem statement is students are particularly vulnerable to the psychological effects of cyberbullying, which has recently emerged as a new threat to the mental health of the children and adolescents throughout the world. The following are the research questions that were generated for this study. The first one is there any significant influence of computing skills knowledge on the level of awareness of cybersecurity among tertiary students in Kedah? And the second research question is there any significant influence of disclosure of personal data on the level of awareness of cybersecurity among tertiary students in Kedah? And the third research question is there any significant influence of password management on the level of awareness of cybersecurity among tertiary students in Kedah? Next, the following are the research objectives that were developed for this study. The first one is to identify the significant influence of computing skills knowledge on the level of awareness of cybersecurity among tertiary students in Kedah. Second one is to examine the significant influence of disclosure of personal data on the level of awareness of cybersecurity among tertiary students in Kedah. And the third research objective is to investigate the significant influence of password management on the level of awareness of cybersecurity among tertiary students in Kedah. While for the method of analysis we use in the studies is demographic analysis, descriptive analysis, coefficient correlation analysis, and multiple regression analysis.
The purpose of this chapter is to review and go deeply to the relevant literature from the previous empirical studies using the variable listed in chapter 1. The dependent variables are introduced and reviewed in the first section. The study chooses 3 variables that contribute to awareness of cybersecurity among tertiary students in Kedah. For the study, which are the computing skills knowledge, disclosure of personal data, and the password management. So, for the first point is the awareness of cybersecurity that has been chosen as the dependent variable. According to the study that conducted by Nurhannani et al. On 2018, cybersecurity awareness is a way or method for educating and increasing awareness about the risk exposure caused by IT users. According to Subramaniam in 2017, their study indicates that cybersecurity awareness significantly impacts one cybersecurity practice. Next, we will move to the next part of the independent variable. The first one is the computing skill knowledge. Dependence on ICT is causing a daily rise in internet user, which has a significant impact on development in Malaysia's cybersecurity scenario. Skill and qualification necessary include to understand of the ICT, the technical skills, the ability to deal with the data, as well as the social interpersonal abilities, according to the Muhammad Tahir 2019. It is crucial for the internet user to have a computer skill and knowledge to manage their social media. Secondly is the disclosure of personal data. The disclosure of information and associate privacy concern is considered part of the decision-making process where influencing factors are evaluated before releasing the information. Meanwhile, according to D'Acquisto et al. 2012, they stated that when releasing personal data in exchange for enhanced service, the customer has to perform a trade-off between what is released, the benefit it gets, and the risk related to divulging that information. The third variable is the password management. Password management is a guideline and best practice that internet users should follow to handle the password effectively, in order to keep them as secure as possible and prevent unauthorized access. According to Ivis et al. On 2014, many people have multiple passwords to protected accounts, and they often reuse the same password repeatedly. This statement clearly shows that password management is very important in order to protect student personal account and information from cybercrime.
Information from business research helps to decrease uncertainties. The several categories for business research will be useful. This can be better understand how the nature of the problem influence the choice of research technique by categorizing them based on purpose or function. There are 6 elements of research design, which are purpose of the study, types of investigation, extent of researcher interference, study settings, unit of analysis, and time horizon. Based on a study by Tehedos 2016, sampling technique is the process of choosing a subset of population or the entire population from a sample frame. Sampling technique serves as a tool for drawing conclusion about population or overview of the existing theories. There are 2 types of sampling process. The first one is probability sampling and the second one is non-probability sampling. Probability sampling is a sampling method in which each respondent has an equal chance of being chosen. Therefore, a cluster sample method was chosen to collect information and data for the purpose of this study. A questionnaire approach was chosen to gather data for this study, and this study will define the population, which consists of full-time degree students at higher institutions in Kedah who are enrolled in different semesters. The process of calculating the sample size involves deciding how many people should be picked in order to obtain valid data. In quantitative research, picking a sample size is an important factor. The sample size must be adequate enough to answer the study's question. Therefore, for the interest of this study, degree students from higher institutions in Kedah were included in the sample size. This study will select hundreds of students only from the whole population of degree students in higher institutions in Kedah. Data can be gathered from primary or secondary sources. The data gathered by various methods such as interviews, surveys, and questionnaires is known as primary data, while secondary data is the information gathered by other researchers and found in books, articles, and journals. The collection of data for this research is from primary sources by using questionnaire distributed to all students of Al-Bukhari International University, ASEAN Institute of Medicine, Science and Technology, AIMS, Sultan Abdul Halim Muazzam Shah International Islamic University, UNISHAMS, University Teknologi Mara UITM, and University Utara Malaysia UM, by using Google Form that is provided through social media platforms such as WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and so on. The data research was completed using SPSS. In order to this, unorganized and useless data must transform into a structured format that can be applied to study. This strategy is the easiest software to use to examine the data generated by the researcher from the information gathered since the responses are quantitative of 100. This research used 3 different statistical methods.
The first analysis is the validity test. The test refers to the extent to which test score-based inference, conclusion, and action are acceptable and relevant. The validity test results are shown in Table 4.1. The validity test results from SPSS statistics reveal that the KMO value and p-value achieved are 0.890 and 0.001 respectively. In conclusion, this instrument is suitable for future investigation because the KMO value is greater than 0.5 and the p-value is less than 0.05, which indicate that this is significant. The second analysis is a reliability test. This test is used to determine whether the item used to measure the variable using subjective measures are internally consistent. The reliability test results are shown in table 4.2. The dependent variable in this study is cybersecurity awareness. According to the table, the dependent variable's Combra alpha is 0.793, which indicates an acceptable level of internal consistency. Besides, the Combra alpha for the first independent variable, computing skills knowledge is 0.817, while for the second independent variable, disclosure of personal data is 0.877, and the third independent variable, password management, is 0.695. All the independent variable Combra alpha is above 0.6 and it was considered acceptable and good. As a result, it was determined that the items used to measure the variable were acceptable.
The respondent profile characteristic is included in this report such as gender, age, institution and mode of the study to perform the survey through Google Form platform. In other words, based on respondent profile characteristic is the demography of human populations. Regarding the gender of the sample, 25.7% was male and 74.3% was female. Table 4.3 shows that the result from the survey indicating that the highest percentage of age that answer the questionnaire is between the age of 21 to 23 years old with 71.6%. Meanwhile, for the institution, we got the highest percentage of respondents for University Teknologi Merayu ITM with 70.6%. Followed by University Utara Malaysia UUM with a percent of 9.2. Table 4.3 also yields some interesting information in which most of the respondent mode of study is full-time students. The table shows the descriptive statistic for both dependent variable and independent variable. The descriptive statistic for awareness of cybersecurity can be found in the table which for the mean is 3.0147 and the standard deviation is 0.61204. For computing skills knowledge, the statistical mean is 2.9931, while the standard deviation is 0.69925. For disclosure of personal data, the mean is 3.3248 and the standard deviation is 0.56946. And lastly, for password management, it can be seen that the mean for this is 3.1670, while for the standard deviation is 0.56733.
Now, I will explain about correlation analysis. Based on this table, it illustrates the correlation between dependent variable, which is cybersecurity awareness, and independent variable, which are computer skill knowledge, disclosure of personal data, and password management. Correlation will significant at the 0.01 level, which is a two-tail. Additionally, there is a strong positive relationship between cybersecurity awareness and computing skill knowledge, since the R is equal to 0.658. Besides, there is also a strong positive relationship between cybersecurity awareness and disclosure of personal data that indicates the R equal to 0.693. While password management has a positively moderate relationship with cybersecurity awareness because the R is 0.468. Okay, next, the multiple regression analysis. This table shows the result of multiple regression analysis. The R-square of 0.529 implies that all the IV explain 53% of the variance in DV. There will be 47% of the variance in cybersecurity awareness is not explained by the IV in this study. Next, as the unstandardized beta number, computer skill knowledge increases by 1 standard deviation. Cybersecurity awareness increased by 0.328 of a standard deviation. Besides, as disclosure data of personal data increased by 1 standard deviation, cybersecurity awareness increased by 0.460 of a standard deviation. As password management increases by 1 standard deviation, cybersecurity awareness decreases by 0.012 of standard deviation. Next, the computer skill knowledge variable is significant since the p-value is 0.002, which is below the 0.05 significant level. Besides, the disclosure of personal data variable is significant with a p-value of 0.000. On the other hand, the variable of password management is not significant because the p-value for password management variable is 0.896, which is above the 0.05 significant level. Now, we will look at the answering for research objective. For research objective 1, the hypothesis is accepted based on the data in chapter 4. According to the finding of the study, the first hypothesis is accepted since the significant level of computing skill knowledge is less than 0.05, which is 0.002. This shows that computing skill knowledge really can influence awareness of cybersecurity. For research objective 2, the hypothesis is accepted based on the data in chapter 4. According to the finding of the study, the second hypothesis is accepted since the significant level of disclosure of personal data is less than 0.05, which is 0.000. This shows that disclosure of personal data really can influence awareness of cybersecurity. For research objective 3, the hypothesis is rejected based on the data in chapter 4. According to the finding of the study, the third hypothesis is rejected since the significant level of password management is more than 0.05, which is 0.896. This shows that password management did not influence awareness of cybersecurity.
Among the recommendations that can be suggested is, firstly, the enhancing password management. Password management is one of the most important aspects in cybersecurity awareness. It is because the password is like a key to access any platform that needs the password. In order to improve their password management accordingly, the students should change their password accordingly at certain time in order to secure their password. It is because when students always use the same password for a long time without changing them, it is not a safe alternative to doing that action. The second recommendation that can be suggested is keeping the software of personal computer or the laptop to up to date. The latest software security patch are an absolutely necessity. This is one of the approach in which the safety of the device can be ensured. It is because when students are constantly aware of the importance of always keeping their software to be up to date, students may effectively close and avoid any potential entry point for cybercrime criminals into their system by ensuring that their software is kept to date all the time. The last recommendation that I can suggest is by improving the skill and knowledge of computer. As students, each of them should know the knowledge how to handle a computer with the appropriate skill and the knowledge. The computer skill and knowledge of computer is a must element for students to dominate in their life. It is because the most significant and in-demand talent in cybersecurity is the ability to use computer and have the knowledge to necessarily protect data management. This effort is made to provide the student with the computer skill that they will require to be successful in the challenge they will encounter in the future.
In conclusion, this study has been analysing the factors that influence the dependent variable, which is the awareness of cybersecurity. In addition, the study also has discovered that the disclosure of personal data, computing skill knowledge, and password management are the independent variables for this study. In this study also, the result of the factor influencing toward the awareness of the cybersecurity among the tertiary students in Kedah also being answered. The result states that the most influencing factors are the computing skills and the disclosure of personal data. Due to these conditions, recommendations have been given in order to solve the problems that occur. This recommendation is one of the alternatives in order to overcome the problem and the issues that occurs. That's all from us. Thank you for listening.